Okay, this one looks like it might be another application of the Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem seems to pop up a lot in mathematics here. It says we've got a utility pole that is 7 meters high. Cable is stretched from the top of the pole to a point on the ground that is 5 meters from the bottom of the pole. How long is the cable? So I've drawn a picture down below here. This one just screams for a picture. So we've got the utility pole, which is 7 meters high. And then we've got a cable that is going from the top of the pole down to a point on the ground that is, what's it say, 5 meters? So this distance here looks like it's 5 meters, so I'll go ahead and label that. And what they want to know is how long is the cable. So classic Pythagorean Theorem problem. We're assuming that this is a right angle. So we've got our two legs, which is the pole itself, and the distance from the bottom of the pole. So I've got those labeled in yellow. And then the utility, or the cable itself, would be the hypotenuse, which again in the Pythagorean Theorem we usually label the legs A and B and the hypotenuse C. So we're ready to plug these numbers in. So one leg is 7, so we're going to take 7 and square it. The other leg is 5, so we're going to take 5 and square it, and that's supposed to be equal to the hypotenuse squared. So on the left-hand side, we've got 49 plus 25 is equal to c squared, and 49 plus 25 is 74. So c squared equals 74. Now in this one, because we only have the squared term, the easiest thing to do is to get that squared term by itself, which it already is, and then extract the roots. So we're going to take the square root of c squared, square root of 74. We're going to have two answers, plus or minus. And I got out my calculator and calculated this. This comes out to be approximately 8.6023. Again, there is a plus or minus here. We can throw out the negative because it doesn't make sense that the hypotenuse would be a negative quantity. So the answer is 8.6023. Now I played around with wall map to see what kind of answers it would accept. If you round this off to 9, it won't take it. Now it doesn't tell me where to round it off, but it doesn't really make sense anyway to round it to a whole number on this particular problem. So I thought I'd try, well, would it allow me to just type in the 8.6 and round it to just the tenths place? And it turns out that it did. It did accept that answer. But if you want to put in more digits on the right hand side, you can do that as well. It will accept it. And then I even tried typing in the square root SQRT of 74. And then, of course, when you preview that, it does the calculation for you. But if you type in SQRT of 74, it will also accept that answer. One more thing, a lot of students always ask, do I have to put the label in? The labels are really important, but in WAMAP, generally, they have the label in there for you. Now, if you were doing this out by hand and showing your work on paper, always make sure you put those labels in. So final answer, it looks like the length of that cable would be 8.6 meters roughly. And that makes sense to me. Remember, the hypotenuse has to be the longest side. So if the pole itself is 7 meters and the distance along the bottom is 5 meters, it certainly makes sense that that cable would be approximately 8.6 meters.